Hi, I am also Backman.
Hello, I'm Marcel.
And we are the two directors of Make Studio Architects. We're speaking to you today here in London as part of the AEC online conference. And the topic of today's talk is innovative interior architecture. To begin with, we're just going to say a few things about our practice. Basically, we're a relatively small design-led practice, and we established in 2002, and we specialize in innovative residential, commercial, retail, and housing design.
So far, we've been involved in numerous projects in different places like London, Sweden, Switzerland, Italy, and South Africa. In principle, we have certain main interests which we kind of apply on all projects, even competitions or residential work.
And for example, one of the main interests is how architecture and landscape design assists in forming communities. And by that we mean how architecture accommodates for social interaction between people and how the built environment can make a difference to the social aspects of people's lives. For example, we talk about something we call transparency between users. And so we utilize physical and visual spatial connections to enable users to hear, for example, and see each other. And that is something we believe accommodates the sort of sense of community and togetherness. Another of our interests that we've sort of developed over the years is how specifically organization and form can also facilitate this social interaction. Very often we juxtapose and one of the things we're interested in is how architecture and landscape design can assist in forming communities. And what we mean by that is how architecture can accommodate for social interaction between people and how the built environment can make a difference to the social aspects of people's lives. For example, we talk about something we call transparency, which between users, and for example, we utilize physical and visual spatial connections to enable users to hear, for example, and see each other, something we believe accommodates a sense of community and togetherness. Another of our interests is how architectural organization and form can facilitate social interaction. We often use juxtapositions of activities coupled with subtle level shifts in the floor and small angle shifts in the wall surfaces and ceiling surfaces to create privacy between users in an otherwise open plan. This enables people to be aware of each other's presence whilst maintaining a sort of private sphere within. We talk about something that we call soft geometry, which basically makes the designs easy to move through and ergonomical to use. And one of the key things when we start a project is we look at the movement and the flow through the spaces, and we sort of map what the design can do to accommodate the flow. We also think that movement through space, if you use it on a larger scale, can again facilitate these chance encounters. So if you sort of design the organization of the space together with the movement, then you can give people an opportunity to have encounters and meet by chance.
A certain interest we have is the materiality of architecture and how contemporary materials and lighting can inform development of built form and create an architecture of depth and variety of translucency. Today's topic is innovative interior architecture. From our point, we are using the same design strategies for exterior and interior. Today we're going to look at 3 specific projects which were designed for very specific clients.
Yeah, just to tell you a little bit about how we work together with clients. As we said before, we come to the projects with a certain set of interests, sort of some core interests that our practice has. But the actual project developed very much together with the client. So typically we would start the project not maybe what you imagine in an interior project, a conventional way where the client would come to you with images that they like. But we sort of started with almost like a series of interviews with the clients about how they attempt to want to live their lives, what their wishes are for the new space, what we can sort of do to accommodate certain activities.
I think for us it's important to understand something deeper of the client, how they operate on a daily basis, how they interact, how the family is structured. And it's not about that it's to create an identity of the owner. It's much more to facilitate the building for them to operate as they like. Now, in the buildings we are looking at, the money and the space was very limited. In this case, we had to compromise on both fronts.
Now, the first project we're going to look at today was originally designed in the year 2000, and then it was sort of put on hold for 2 years, and then it was eventually built in the year 2002. Now, the client for this project was a bachelor, and he didn't use his kitchen very much, but what he wanted us to do, one of the really early discussions we had, was how to try and camouflage or hide his kitchen, because he obviously felt he needed to have it. He didn't want it to actually take up so much visual space in his kitchen, in his flat. And he wanted us to do something which gave the very limited space in his flat more sense of space.
We proposed to have an element which weaves through all the spaces from the patio to the kitchen to the living room. At the same time, we would like that the material is possibly translucent, that will be used as a light source. At the same time, cover up all the bits he didn't like to see. In the patio, it is a coffee table with a seating area. Then it weaves into the kitchen, where it becomes kitchen worktop, and then eventually it ends up in the living room, where hi-fi and all the elements are hidden behind. The shape as such gives you very much a sense of continuity, and at the same time depth to the whole space, kind of undefined edges.
And the material for these elements we chose quite carefully. We wanted the elements themselves to be backlit, so we needed something that was translucent, but at the same time not so transparent that you could see things hidden behind them. The company that we selected for the production of these elements, they had experience in stage set design. For example, they were working on the Star Wars stage sets, and they suggested that we use a plastic which is called PETG, which can be heat slumped, and this is what we utilized. Basically what happened was that the carpenters built these full-scale templates, obviously, in curved, thin plywood on site, and the templates were then transported to the factory, where the plastic was heat slumped onto them in certain sections. And PETG as material is less brittle than acrylic, and then so it was good for this application. And what we did then in the end was we also concealed lighting, the colored lighting system, underneath the worktop and in the elements, and the client then could use that to set moods with.
In addition, because the space was so tight, we designed a table which could be used as a kitchen table, but at the same time could be moved into the living area as a dining table. The shape as such had to be done that 3 people could sit on, and we had to use a very organic shape